Last night, you were being chased through your old middle school hallway by a fully sentient BLT sandwich. Your teeth were falling out one by one, which is somehow always in there. And at some point, you were also giving a TED Talk. In your underwear. Very specific. Very unhinged. And by the time you poured your coffee this morning, gone. All of it. Deleted. Like your brain hired a cleanup crew that shows up at 6 a.m. and shreds the evidence before you're even awake enough to ask questions. Here's the part nobody tells you. You probably dream every single night. Multiple times a night, whether you remember it or not. And you forget almost all of it, not because dreams are meaningless garbage your brain coughs up, but because forgetting might actually be on purpose. Today we're figuring out why your brain writes an entire nightly screenplay, full budget, weird casting choices, zero continuity, and then immediately hits delete before the credits roll. For most of human history, nobody thought dreams came from your brain at all. Ancient Egyptians had literal professional dream interpreters on staff at temples. The Greeks thought dreams were messages sent by gods, sometimes to warn you, sometimes just to mess with you. The Babylonians wrote entire dream dictionaries. Basically, for thousands of years, humanity's answer to, "Why did I dream about a goat wearing a crown?" was, a deity is trying to tell you something, which, respectfully, is a very expensive way to avoid saying, "I don't know." Then Sigmund Freud shows up in 1899 and says, actually, dreams are your unconscious desires sneaking past security in a disguise. Wish fulfillment, he called it. Every dream, according to Freud, is secretly about something you want, usually something you're not allowed to say out loud in polite company. Was he onto something? Sure, partly. Was he also the guy who thought every umbrella and train tunnel was a secret symbol for something else entirely? Also, yes. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, Sigmund. The actual science didn't start until 1953, when a researcher named Eugene Aserinsky was studying his own 8-year-old son's sleep and noticed something bizarre. Every so often, the kid's eyes would dart back and forth rapidly like he was watching a tennis match with his eyelids closed. That's the discovery of REM sleep, rapid eye movement. And it turns out, if you wake someone up during REM, they report vivid, detailed dreams almost every single time. We finally had a physical address for where dreams were happening. So what is actually happening up there? In 1977, two researchers named Hobson and McCarley proposed the activation synthesis hypothesis. During REM sleep, your brainstem starts firing off random electrical signals, basically brain static, no message attached. Your cortex, the smart part of your brain that's usually in charge of making sense of things, wakes up just enough to notice all this noise and goes, okay, I have to make a story out of this right now, no rehearsal. That's a dream. It's your brain doing improv comedy with garbage input, and somehow still delivering a 3-act structure. And here's a detail that should honestly get more attention. While all this is happening, your body's paralyzed. It's called REM atonia. Your brainstem cuts the signal from your brain to your muscles on purpose, so that when you're dreaming you're sprinting from a monster, you don't actually get up and sprint through your bedroom wall. For most people, this system works great. For a small, unlucky few, it glitches, and that's the actual medical explanation behind sleepwalking and people acting out dreams. Your brain built a safety lock. Mostly it holds. Here's a theory I actually love. Threat simulation theory. The idea is that dreaming evolved as a kind of practice mode, a flight simulator for danger, running while it's safe to run it, so if you ever do face a real threat, part of your brain has already rehearsed it. That is almost certainly why the single most universal dream on Earth across every culture, every age group, is being chased by something. You're not weird. You're just doing free nightly cardio drills for a threat that, statistically, is never actually going to show up at your house. Another leading theory, memory consolidation. While you sleep, your brain is basically doing filing, sorting through everything that happened that day, deciding what gets moved into long-term storage and what gets tossed. And dreams might be a side effect of that process. Your brain replaying and reorganizing fragments of memory, which is why your dream about a work meeting somehow also features your childhood dog and a hallway from a house you haven't lived in for a decade. That's not random. That's filing cabinet chaos, live in progress. There's also strong evidence for emotional processing. During REM sleep, your brain replays emotional experiences from the day, but with the stress chemical, norepinephrine, turned way down. So you get to reprocess something upsetting without your body flooding with the full panic response. Basically, an overnight therapy session you did not schedule, did not pay for, and will not remember attending. Some researchers think that's exactly why a bad night of dream sleep leaves you more anxious and more emotionally raw the next day. The overnight therapist called in sick. Okay, so that's the dreaming half. Now the part you actually clicked for. Why do you forget almost all of it? Here's the answer. Remember that stress chemical, norepinephrine, the one that gets turned way down during REM sleep. Turns out your brain also needs that exact chemical at healthy levels to properly form and store new long-term memories. During REM, it basically flatlines. At the same time, the connection between your hippocampus, your memory filing office, and your prefrontal cortex, your executive decision maker, gets significantly weaker. You are dreaming in a room with the recording light physically switched off. And it gets worse, or better, depending on how you feel about surprise sandwich monsters. Even the dreams you do briefly remember start decaying within about 90 seconds of waking up, unless you actively grab onto them. That's the actual scientific reason the write it down immediately trick works for people who keep dream journals. You're not remembering more dreams. You're just catching them before the recording light finishes being off, and the whole thing dissolves for good. So why do some dreams feel burned into your memory for years? Usually one of a few reasons. You woke up directly out of REM sleep instead of drifting out of it slowly, which is common if an alarm, a noise, or your cat decided 3 a.m. was the time to headbutt you awake. Or the dream was extremely emotionally intense, which gets a temporary memory boost even with low norepinephrine. Or you were already anxious and half awake, replaying it before your brain had the chance to file it under delete. Intensity beats chemistry occasionally. Quick fun detour. Some people train themselves to become aware they're dreaming while still inside the dream. It's called lucid dreaming. And with practice, some people report actually steering the plot, fighting the sandwich monster back for once. Neuroscientists think it happens when your prefrontal cortex, normally mostly offline during REM, partially wakes back up. Basically, you smuggle a little bit of your conscious decision-making brain into the dream studio while it's still filming. And this isn't just a human thing. Dogs, cats, and plenty of other mammals show the exact same REM patterns: twitching paws, fluttering eyelids, the occasional sleep bark. Researchers have even studied rats running mazes while awake, then recorded their brain activity firing in the same exact pattern while they slept. The rats were, as far as anyone can tell, dreaming about the maze. Your dog is not just twitching. Your dog is out there somewhere mid-chase scene and will remember absolutely none of it either. And this all matters more than you'd think, because if you get cut off from REM sleep night after night, your brain does not just shrug it off. Memory gets worse. Emotional regulation gets worse. Some studies even show your brain will try to claw back lost REM sleep the next chance it gets, diving into it faster and staying longer like it's making up for lost work. Turns out, the nightly screenplay isn't optional programming. It's closer to required maintenance. So here's the plain answer. You dream because your sleeping brain is running background processes, sorting memories, rehearsing threats, processing emotions, using leftover static from your brainstem as raw material. And you forget almost all of it because the exact brain chemistry required to save new memories is deliberately dialed down while all of that is happening. It's not a glitch. It's not your brain being lazy. It's a feature. Your brain runs the whole show every single night, then wipes the master copy on purpose. So next time you wake up rattled because you dreamed your teeth fell out mid-TED Talk while being chased by lunch meat, relax. That's not a warning sign. That's just your brain doing quiet, unpaid night shift labor on your behalf, then clocking out before you can even say thank you. You're not broken. You're just extremely well-maintained and mildly unsupervised between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. And that's why you dream and why you forget it 30 seconds later. If your brain has ever handed you something weirder than a sandwich monster in a TED Talk, drop it in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone here. If you like this, subscribe to Curious Chad. We cover completely random stuff, no theme, no consistency, just whatever question refused to leave me alone that week. See you in the next one.